Duplicate stitching is such a fun way to personalize knit pieces, and I'm going to show you how to do this along with sharing a free alphabet of stitch charts. This is a free pattern from the latest issue of Material Girls magazine, which is a free fiber art magazine that you can download at the link in the description. Every issue is full of fun girly craft inspiration, including free knitting, crochet, and sewing patterns, so definitely check it out. You can follow along with this tutorial using any size yarn and needles. I'm going to be using size 4 yarn and 4mm needles to match, but it's fun to experiment with different ones, so definitely give that a go. You can use either circular or straight knitting needles for this pattern. Any of these will work, and you will also need some basic materials like a tapestry needle and scissors. Optionally, you can use a crochet hook if you want to crochet a border. I like to do this in a contrasting color, so I'm going to be showing how to do that as well. We need to start by creating a swatch to stitch into. So this is going to be a basic stockinette stitch swatch, and it's going to vary in size based on which letter you want to put into it. So I'm doing the letter B, which according to these stitch charts, if you're using them, is 20 stitches wide by 16 rows tall. So I'm using a long tail cast on to cast on 20 stitches, and then I'm going to be doing 16 rows of stockinette stitch. So that's 1 row of knitting, 1 row of purling, going back and forth until I've done 16 rows, and then just doing a basic cast off in the last knit row to finish that off. You can duplicate stitch into all sorts of sizes of pieces, but what's important is that it does need to be in stockinette stitch because that V shape is how we're going to be shaping our duplicate stitches on top of them. So I'm tying my swatch off here, and to make my life a little bit easier in the future, I'm going to weave those ends in now. It just keeps them out of the way as we're trying to stitch other things into this swatch. So now we're ready to get going. Start by grabbing a contrasting thread so that it will show up on your piece. I'm doing this pink on white, which is going to show up really well. I cut off about 2 arm lengths of thread and then pull it through a tapestry needle halfway through so that it's held double basically. Even though I'm using the same size yarn, I find that having it double when doing the duplicate stitch just makes sure that it fully covers up the knitting underneath. First, let's learn how to identify a knit stitch. So this V is what one knit stitch looks like. So it has a left side, a right side, that's one knit stitch, and we're going to need to learn how to count those so that we can follow along with this grid chart here. I'm going to start with this edge of the B here, so I'm going to count 6 stitches over. The stitches on the edge usually roll under, so make sure to count the left edge as 1, and then I'm counting 6 stitches over. That's the column that I want my first stitch to be in, and then I also need to count 6 rows up. So from the bottom, I'm going to count 6, and that is where I'm going to make my first duplicate stitch. Following all these V's here, you're going to find the very edge of your letter, whichever one you're doing. Duplicate stitching starts at the base of the stitch, so finding that stitch between the left and right parts of the V, right underneath it, you're going to pull the tapestry needle up and pull most of the yarn through, just leave a bit of an end at the back that we can weave in later. We're going to start by covering up the right side of this stitch. So to cover up that right part of the V, insert your tapestry needle underneath both edges of the knit stitch directly above the one that you're trying to cover up. So you can see here I went under both the right and left sides of the V that is just above this one, and it has covered up the right V on my stitch. Now to cover up the left side of the stitch, push the tapestry needle through the same hole that we originally came up through, and that's it. Once you pull it through here at the base of the V-stitch, you've covered up both edges and created one duplicate stitch. We're going to keep doing these 3 movements over and over. So next I'm going to the stitch right above this one in my B pattern, coming through the very bottom of it to get the stitch started, covering up the right side of the stitch by placing the tapestry needle underneath both sides of the stockinette stitch directly above this one, pulling that all the way through, and then bringing the needle back down to the base of the stitch and pulling that through to finish off another duplicate stitch. And that's the same process over and over again. You're going to be covering up each of these stitches, following along with these grids and graphs. It can be helpful to look at it on a screen online so that you can zoom into where the stitches are, or even printing them out so that you can cross them off as you go and keep track of which one you're on. But once you get a few going and you locate where on the swatch you're going to start, I guarantee it gets easier because you can start seeing where the shapes are and just better look at them on the chart. If you run out of yarn at any point, just cut it with a bit of a tail so that you can weave it in later, and start with a fresh piece, again leaving a tail. Do that all on the back and we'll weave it in later. There's nothing you have to do to add in new strands of anything. I find the repetitive motion of this both so relaxing and also just very satisfying, watching everything get covered up and watching this shape kind of form bit by bit is so cool. Once the whole letter is done, it's time to weave in ends, so I just cut them off at a good length, and then make sure to weave them into spaces that have this duplicate stitch color on them. I wouldn't want to weave them into the white space because you would see it on the other side, so I'm just making sure that I'm weaving in each color on the same color, if that makes sense. I love a crocheted border. I think that it makes things look much more finished, especially when we're just working with a swatch like this. So I'm going to show you how to make just a simple single crochet border. So I have a crochet hook that's about the same millimeter size as my knitting needles were. Insert the crochet hook into the edge of the swatch and pull up a loop of yarn, then yarn over and pull that through the loop on your hook. Now we're going to start just a basic single crochet stitch. So that's inserting the hook, pulling up a loop, yarn over, and pulling it through everything on the hook. We're just going to continue that over and over, and it's going to create a really nice simple border around the entire swatch. For this border, I did a single crochet stitch in each knit stitch and in each knit row. So when I was going horizontally, I did one stitch into each knit stitch, and when I was going vertically down the edges of the swatch, I did one crochet stitch into each knit row. Here's how she's looking near the end. To finish it off, we're going to do a slip stitch. So that means taking the crochet hook through the first single crochet stitch, pulling up a loop, and then just directly pulling it through the loop that you already have on your hook. And that's just going to make a nice connection from the beginning and end of this border. You can cut it off and tie off there, and we're all done. Of course, weave in any last ends that you have. I again try to do this within the colors that match, so I'm going to weave this into the border itself. And lastly, I definitely recommend blocking these pieces because they are squares. If you block them, you can just make them sit perfectly and totally flat. Stockinette does have a tendency to kind of roll over at the edges. So I'm going to be using just a kid's playmat that I use as a blocking board, and these needles, you can use just singular needles as well, but I do like this blocking set. Wet each piece down, wring it out so that it's not soaking wet, and then we're going to lay it in the shape that we want. So I'm starting from one corner and just making sure that every corner is unfurled when I pin it down, and that it is stretched out in any way that it needs to be fully a square. So at the bottom, mine was a bit tighter. I'm going to take this chance to stretch it out and place needles down there, and when it dries, it will dry in whatever position you pin it down here. I've had so much fun making these swatches. Obviously the font is so fun in duplicate stitching, but I think they also work great as personalized gifts. I think they could be bag tags. You could even add them as like ornaments to a tree. I've used them as place settings. So much fun stuff to do here. So if you try it out, definitely tag Material Grrrlz so that we can see. If you like this tutorial, you have to check out our free pattern library on materialgrrrlz.com. There are a bunch of free knitting, crochet, and sewing patterns, like dozens of them, as well as 14 issues of Material Grrrlz magazine, which you can download for free or look into print subscriptions as well on the same website. Thanks so much for watching. Happy duplicate stitching and have a great day.